Listen to the continuation of the story. Epoch-Crossers. Part 5, End of the line. Silence. That was the most terrifying thing that could happen in the Brown Noise Club. After the golden explosion that restarted the time cycle, the world froze. The music that had hammered our eardrums was gone. The walls, made of old speakers and vinyl records, now just seemed like walls. The year 2050 greeted us with the smell of stale popcorn and disappointment. The main archive of the Temporal Reserve, just as Grandpa predicted, was located in an abandoned cinema called New Frame. A cracked poster hung on the facade, advertising a film that was long since history. Kira and I cautiously slipped inside through the back entrance. It was dusty and quiet inside, and this silence was far more unsettling than the noise of Sector 3. In the lobby where the ticket booth used to be, Ellis was waiting for us. Sam and the others created a diversion, Ellis whispered, peering out a broken window. They blew up a couple of old generators in the next block. The patrol responded. We have maybe an hour. I pulled out Grandpa's note. We need the first digital code. It's in the archive, and we need Kira to inject chaos into it through the film projector. The archive is the building itself, Ellis explained. Your grandfather hid the code in the old analog network that controlled the theater's lights and sound. The code is in the projection booth. It's right at the top. We moved up the narrow, creaking stairs leading to the balcony. With every step, Kira became more focused. There was no longer the clumsiness of someone from 2142 who never walked. She had become part of the movement. The code they used to track us. It must be perfect, Kira said as she ascended the steps. A perfect code is the most fragile code. Any unpredictable variable will destroy its logic. And that variable is you, I said. We reached the projection booth. It was a small, stuffy room dominated by a dusty but majestic machine, the film projector. Massive, with many spools, lenses, and lamps, it looked like the throne of the analog era. There it is, Kira whispered, touching the casing. Analog power. Projects light and sound, bypassing all digital filters. Perfect for injecting chaos. Next to the projector, among old film canisters, stood a small but modern terminal, protected by a thick glass dome. On the terminal screen, a single, very long string of symbols blinked. The first digital code, Ellis breathed out. It's protected by a physical barrier and multiple digital ciphers. We can't break through. We don't need to break through, I said, remembering Grandpa's note. We need Kira to break through. I took out my analog compass. The needle spun wildly, then stopped, pointing not at Kira, but at the projector itself. The projector is the key, I said. It has to become the echo emitter. Kira, you need to start this projector. We need its light and sound to illuminate the code. Kira walked up to the projector. She opened its casing and, like a true engineer, started checking the spools. The projector doesn't just show movies, Jake. It records reality. Each reel is a moment in time. To inject chaos, we need to run an old film that has pure, unpredictable sound and light. She grabbed one of the film boxes. It read, 1968 concert. Negative. Damaged. Perfect, she muttered. Damaged negative. Pure caos. I'll load it now. At that moment, the door to the projection booth burst open. Standing in the doorway was the patrol leader. He was a man in an immaculately clean, black uniform suit. His face was as cold as ice, and in his hand, he held a device that looked like a small scanner. I expected you, Jake. His voice was calm and devoid of all emotion. And you, Anomaly. I am the leader of temporal integrity, and I am here to complete what your grandfather started, to establish perfect, eternal stability. I stood in front of Kira. Your patrol are fanatics, leader. Grandpa wanted movement and you want stasis. Perfect stability is death. Stability is the absence of pain, the leader replied, his eyes fixed on Kira. Your grandfather was too sentimental. He couldn't accept that perfect order requires sacrificing freedom. But I can. He aimed the scanner at the projector. I will deactivate the projector. Without a powerful analog emitter, you won't be able to breach the code's defense. The game is over. No! Shouted Kira, who had managed to load the film. You have a weakness. Grandpa said you're willing to sacrifice yourself to stop movement. My life is nothing compared to eternal order, the leader said, preparing to push the button on the scanner. I acted instinctively. I lunged at him, shielding myself with my leather jacket. Kira, start. I tackled the patrol leader to the floor. The scanner flew out of his hand, but I couldn't reach it. We wrestled on the projection booth floor, while Kira flipped the main switch. The projector roared to life. A bright beam of light pierced the dark room, and sound poured out of the powerful speakers. It was pure, unfiltered chaos. The sound of crashing cymbals, the screech of a failing guitar, and an unintelligible, emotional scream. The film was so damaged that the light and sound were distorted beyond recognition. Kira approached the protected code terminal. In the shimmering light of the projector, her violet jumpsuit pulsed with incredible intensity. I'm injecting the rhythm, leader, the rhythm of a mistake, she cried. The patrol leader broke free from my grip. His eyes were blazing. He realized he was losing. No, I will not allow this. He lunged not at Kira, but at the projector itself, which was the only source of chaos emission. I will destroy the emitter. The death of one device is more important than the chaos of all temporal integrity, he yelled. He grabbed a heavy metal rod lying nearby and swung it to smash the projector's lens. I knew I wouldn't be able to stop him, but Kira did. She turned from the terminal and did the unbelievable. She didn't inject chaos into the code. She did what her new, living instinct told her to do. She made the code fall in love with chaos. Kira pressed her hand against the glass dome of the terminal. All her energy, all her new, unsynthesized emotion rushed into it. The code, which was a perfect, straight line, began to pulse gold. It didn't break. It evolved. The patrol leader's rod struck not the projector, but himself. The leader, who was willing to sacrifice himself for stability, made the final, ultimate sacrifice. His own scanner, lying on the floor, activated, catching the energy of the echo, and created a localized temporal rupture around him. The patrol leader vanished. Completely. The projector light stabilized. The concert music suddenly sounded clean and powerful. Kira stumbled away from the terminal. The code on the screen was still pulsating, but now it was happy. It contained not only order but also a pure, unpredictable variable. I didn't break it, Jake, Kira whispered, shaking with exhaustion. I made it free. Now the patrol can never use it to track the perfect line. Because the perfect line no longer exists. Ellis rushed into the projection booth with Sam. What happened? The golden light. And those sound waves. All our old sensors in the city started going crazy, exclaimed Sam. We injected chaos, I said, picking up my battered leather jacket from the floor. You didn't just inject chaos, Ellis said, looking at the terminal screen with respect. You created a new kind of order. Your grandfather knew that only a living echo could do that.
Kira smiled.
There was no trace of exhaustion on her face. Her jumpsuit returned to its sunset color, but now it shimmered with all colors at once, like a rainbow that couldn't be synthesized. What now? Kira asked. Now? Ellis smiled. Now time is moving again, and the patrol no longer has the code for the hunt. You are free. Both of you. Go wherever you want. Create your mistakes. We left the cinema. The sun of 2050 was shining brightly. I turned to Kira. I have to go back to my time, Kira. To my boring Analogue 2024. My world needs to know that stability is a lie. Kira walked up to me. I won't go back to 2142. It's too quiet there. My jumpsuit won't be able to be violet unless it's chased by adrenaline. She took my hand, and I felt her energy. Your grandfather had one last card, she said. The transit card. It's not just for travel. It's for choice. Choose, Jake. Where shall we go to create the next, loudest mistake? I looked at the transit card in my hand. Now it glowed not dimly, but with a bright, pulsating light. I choose. I smiled. I choose movement.
Anywhere, Kira.
As long as it's not boring. I pressed the card against an old lamppost that once served as a terminal. Blue light flared. We vanished. The journey had just begun.